Daarnaast zijn er ook nog een aantal andere vormen hoe wij samenwerken. Ja, mijn naam is Mathijs Theunissen trouwens, strategisch partner account manager voor Acronis, specifiek voor cloud in de Benelux en Nordics. En Nicolai is onze sales engineer die jullie straks de product demo gaat geven. Voor degenen die Acronis nog niet kennen, we bestaan al ruim 13 jaar. We hebben ongeveer 800 medewerkers verdeeld over verschillende kantoren. De grootste kantoren zitten in Amerika, Duitsland, Singapore. En in Engeland wordt nu daar wordt nu een kantoor geopend waar uiteindelijk rond de 50 man komen te zitten. Hier de verdeling ook van onze business in de verschillende regio's. 40% in Europa, 40% in Amerika en 20% in Azië. We werken volledig met een partnerkanaal via distributie. We hebben ook eindgebruikerproducten, maar dat is puur voor consumenten, niet voor zakelijk. Alle zakelijke producten worden via partners verkocht. Zoals gezegd gaat het vandaag over Acronis Backup Cloud. We hebben eigenlijk 3 smaken. De eerste smaak is de variant die jullie kennen via de marketplace. Maar het is ook mogelijk sinds enkele maanden om een specifiek contract af te sluiten. Waar jullie toegang hebben tot de portal van Acronis. En dat de data wordt opgeslagen in de Acronis Cloud. En dat kan in Londen, Straatsburg of Frankfurt. Hier zien jullie dan overzichtelijk hoe die structuur eruit ziet. Daarnaast kan er een cloud backup gemaakt worden, maar ook een lokale backup. Dat kan in verschillende varianten. En dit is de Acronis Backup Cloud Service Provider hosted. Jullie kunnen dan jullie eigen stores opzetten en de backups weg laten schrijven naar jullie eigen omgeving. En uiteraard ook lokale backup maken naar een externe harde schijf op locatie van de klant. Als laatste wat ik wilde meegeven tijdens deze introductie is dat we binnenkort versie 7 gaan lanceren. Dat zal Q1 worden volgend jaar. Hier een aantal verbeteringen die wij door gaan voeren. Met name op performance en de stabiliteit van het platform. En daarnaast ook de reporting is een belangrijk onderdeel wat we willen gaan verbeteren, of wat we gaan verbeteren. En de integratie met ConnectWise en Autotask is de volgende. Het is belangrijk dat jullie zo veel mogelijk klanten kunnen voorzien van Acronis Backup Cloud met zo min mogelijk effort en dat het beheersbaar blijft. Vandaar dat we ook gefocust zijn om deze verbeteringen door te voeren en de integraties verder op te zetten. Nicolai zal nu beginnen met de product demo. Ik zag al iemand een vraag stellen. Dus ik weet niet of diegene de vraag via de chat kan stellen. Of Nicolai, als jij alvast Nicolai, could you take...
Can you make me the presenter?
Yes,
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the introduction and for the opportunity for me to listen to Dutch. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and let me share my screen to proceed with the demo. As I understand, some of you are new to Acronis Backup Cloud, so I will try to make a comprehensive demo of the product features. And for those of you who are already familiar with the product, I hope you will see maybe some new features that you can offer to customers. Can you see my screen? Mathijs, can you confirm? Because you can be not on mute.
Yes, I can see your screen. So
all right.
I assume everyone can see your screen.
Okay. So this is the main window of the portal. This is what you see when you sign up for the service in the marketplace. You are given an account, you activate it, and you log in to the service with that account. And what it enables you to do is it gives you a central overview of all your end users, all your partners that you have. You as a service provider, after signing up for the service, you have a complete freedom of customizing the look of the interface the way you like. Well, first of all, you can rebrand the service by specifying your logos, your colors, links to your technical support maybe, or to your documentation about the product and so on. You can have notifications about backups sent from your custom email server instead of our server. And also you can even customize this URL that your users go to open the console for them. So this is completely customizable. You have an overview of all the clients you have along with their backup statuses. So I haven't been backing up these guys for a while, but you can see for the first client that, well, this gray line represents the past week, 168 hours of the past week. And these stripes signify the backup statuses, whether the backup was successful, whether there were warnings or errors. And you can easily, if there are errors, you can go inside the particular customer here and see what's happening there. To create the customer from this web interface, you just add a group of the type customer if you want that user to actually back up the data. You specify the location of that data. So as a service provider, you can either store your customer's data within Acronis in the default cloud storage, or you can install your own storage. We call it Acronis Storage or Acronis Storage Gateway. You install it, you register it for yourself in your portal, and you can specify, like the one I registered here, the gateway, you can specify which sort of storage will be used. So just as Matthias mentioned in the introduction, the two ways of storing data. For each customer group, you specify you can specify the quotas. By default, we keep them unlimited. If you specify, for example, an overall storage quota for this customer, this means that all the users in total for that customer will have this many, let's say, gigabytes of usage. You can have also some grace overage, so if they exceed by like 10 gigabytes, it will be still okay. If you, let's say, leave this quota as 0, you're essentially providing a package, a service package to the customer. They can back up to 50 gigabytes, regardless of the number of devices they choose to back up. And what happens when the storage is reached? Well, our policy is to enable at least one backup still. So even if the customer's first backup exceeds the quota, we still allow it to be successfully written to the storage so that your customers rest assured that they have protected data. But subsequent backups, of course, will not be happening until you either increase the quota or maybe decrease the amount of data that you back up. Also, let me open the chats. Feel free to ask questions. Well, for me in English if possible, and I will be answering them along the way. In terms of creating a client, if there are any questions, please ask, but this is essentially the steps you need to take. You just specify the name of that client and you select which storage to use, our storage or your own storage. And if you want, you specify the quotas. So I created a couple of clients already, like this one. The next step to actually proceed with backups is to create what we call the user account. A user account is essentially a login an email, and again, that's all. So you specify these parameters, the activation link goes to that customer, the customer activates sets up the password and can log in to the service by using this URL, by using your own URL if you provide it. And also all customers, each of these accounts, can essentially register as many machines as they like, unless you limit it. So if, for example, you do not want to actually allow customers to log in here, but you rather manage everything yourself, you're a managed service provider, you can just create one client, one customer, one account, register all those machines under that account, and manage them centrally. In terms of setting up our own storage, a question from Raman, we have something called the Acronis Storage Gateway. The Acronis Storage Gateway is essentially a Linux machine. Let me show you the picture. It's a Linux machine that you install on your premises. You make it available to the outside world through one of the ports we use for incoming connections. You also open a few outgoing ports so that it reports usage and retrieves certificates and so on. But essentially this is the port you need to use. And then you connect this Linux machine to whatever storage you have. It can be, maybe you can have a Linux machine with a local drive. This will work. Maybe you have a NAS device that you can connect to it as an NFS or CIFS share. So essentially whatever you can normally connect, mount to a Linux machine will work with Acronis. But in addition to these types of storage devices, we support a few object storage devices, object storage services. Microsoft Azure, S3, not necessarily Amazon, but essentially any S3 supported service, and OpenStack. Also we have released another type of storage we call just Acronis Storage, Acronis Storage 2.0 to be honest, to be precise. And this is similar to Acronis Storage Gateway, but you install it on bare metal machine. It has its own operating system, it takes care of redundancy and so on. Once you set up this software, Acronis Storage Gateway, you register it in the service, and it appears in the list for your main group here on the storage tab, like the one I have. The data, if you connect anything to the gateway, including Azure, now it's a question from Eric, the data will go through the gateway. So essentially the gateway serves as an intermediate between the Acronis Backup protocol that we use and the storage you want to store your backups on, whether it's network storage or object storage. Other questions? Okay. Also, maybe one of the potential questions is the ability to load balance the traffic, and the gateway is a single machine working with a single type of storage. So essentially in this gateway there's no load balancing, but Acronis storage that I mentioned, the one that you install on bare metal machines and we already provide, there is load balancing there. So essentially you can set up that sort of storage on a number of bare metal machines, combine them into a cluster, all within the Acronis web interface on that type of storage, and have both load balancing and redundancy reliability because the data is being spread across those nodes. Okay. All right, so back to the main interface. You created the client, you created an account within this client. You can create multiple accounts if you want. And the next step is, of course, to actually start backing up the data. So you either log in, let me actually log in under this user. So I'm logging in as an end user. Okay. As you can see, sorry. If I log in as an end user, the interface will be either white labeled or labeled according to your distribution, to your branding options. Maybe some caching problem here. Anyway. Okay, sorry, let me go back to the administrator's console. It doesn't really matter because if I have a list of users, I can either log in as this one, or I can actually centrally manage all the users by clicking Manage Backups. And so if I log in as an end user, I will see the branded console that you specified by branding the colors, the links, and so on. In that environment, yeah, just a moment. Okay, well, something is with this stand maybe, but let me then just use a different one. So essentially, this is what you will see. Sorry for that delay. So once you either log in as an end user or a service provider, you see the list of devices that you protect. Of course, initially this list is empty, and you add the device that you want to back up by downloading an agent, one of the agents. We support a variety of agents for different ways, different sorts of operating systems and environments. Most of the time, users will probably use agents for Windows or Linux, but we also protect Mac devices, we also protect mobile devices, and you can offer this as a separate option. And for virtual environments, we protect virtual machines by using agentless backup. So what you do is you download a separate agent on some machine running Windows. You tell that machine the name of your host with VMs that you want to protect, and all those VMs will appear on the list. You can apply backup plans to them. You don't actually have to install anything inside the guest systems. You don't have to install anything on the host itself. It's just a single separate machine that manages agentless backup. And a similar situation is with Hyper-V hosts. So essentially you install the agent on the host itself. You see all the VMs, and for virtuals as well. They're also, as part of our multi-platform policy, we have separate agents for different sorts of applications, and I'm going to show you some of those, Office 365 backup. And also a good thing that we, in any case, can do application-aware backup. So a single backup from which you can recover an entire machine, just file a folder, or an application in a consistent manner. I'm going to show you that in a moment. So suppose I want to add another agent here, so I want to back up a new server I have. So I essentially download an agent for a server. It's a pretty lightweight file. Once the download is complete, the only thing that you need to specify is the login name and password from your account. The machine appears on the list, and you can apply backup plans to it. So also I can switch to this view. What does it mean to apply a backup plan? It's essentially to specify what to back up, the entire machine or individual files or folders or applications, where and how often. So by default, we offer this template. And the reason we offer it is that this backup is the most universal. Of course, you maybe use more space in the storage, but by backing up an entire machine, you can restore it to a separate machine, to the same machine, and preserve the operating system being bootable. You can migrate that machine from host to host, for example, or you can back up a physical machine and create it on a virtual host, and we still preserve operating system in terms of their bootability. And also, an entire machine backup can be made application aware. So if you know that your server is running Exchange, you select this flag, click OK. The backup will be a backup of an entire machine, but you will be able to recover both the machine entirely, some of its files, or a mailbox, or even an individual email item. The next step is where to back up. Cloud storage here means the storage that you specify as the cloud for that customer. So remember, when you create the customer, you create whether you want to store the data with us or within your data center by using the gateway. So in any case, this is the cloud storage that you specified at that step. But in addition to using the cloud storage, your customers can have a copy of the backup on a local drive or within a local network folder. And we don't track usage for these two options. So essentially, by offering cloud backup to your end users, you also offer local backup for them free of charge, and they can use this option to actually store 2 copies of data, one in the cloud, one locally. I'm not sure if this machine enables me to do that, but okay. One locally and one in the cloud by using backup replication to the cloud storage. Yeah, this is the message, by the way, you see, or your end users see if you specify the quota and they're about to reach it. They can request you to increase the quota. Another option is, of course, retention. By default, we store backups, we store earlier backups once a month, one backup per month, and store more recent backups for like one backup a day, depending on the schedule that you specify here. Weekly, daily, or monthly. So if I specify a daily schedule here, I have this default retention scheme, 7 of the most recent backups per day, then 1 backup per week, and then 1 backup per month. But regardless of what you select here, all the backups are incremental. Only the first backup is full, all other backups to the cloud take just the changes. And in addition to that, we also have a filter driver that actually tracks changes that happen between the backups. So when the next backup comes, we already know what to back up. So this way we decrease the time that it needs to back up a machine. A question from Eric about the application agent in a VM. For host backup, no, you don't install anything in the VM, but the VMware tools must be running there. So we support application-aware backup, both host-based and guest-based. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So we apply the backup plan, run that backup, and once, while the backup is running, you can see it in the list of activities, its status, whether it was successful, and so on. Once the backup is completed, you have it in the Backups tab or here on the Recovery tab. Okay. All right. Depending on the type of the backups you made, you can recover either an entire machine or individual files and folders. In any case, you select the data, you can select whether to restore to the original machine or to some other machine, and the recovery will go right from the web interface. So you don't have to be logged in to the machine to perform the actions. So the agent itself is pretty much minimalistic. It just tells you that the backup is currently running, or it enables you to open the console. But everything you can do from this web console, from your mobile device, from your laptop at home, and so on. So this is the idea behind that central management we have. So I select the folder, the recovery point, and click recover, or can download the files. Most of the time, there is no huge disaster that the customer faces, and most of the time maybe they can recover just a single file. For this reason, we have another more minimalistic interface for downloading the files. So you essentially log in to the simple console. You can give the link to your end users to that console. They log in here. Okay, if I know the password though. They log into this console, they have access to the backup, and they can recover their data. This is my colleague's account, so I'm not very familiar with ways to log into it. But okay, maybe mine actually works now. So for end users, it's file download either from here or from the main console. But if there is a major disaster and you need to recover a machine entirely, we also have another method. It's called bare metal recovery, ISO image. You download this file from the cloud, just one file. It's not bound to any specific backup. You can do it just when you start using the service. You boot the machine from that image, and let's say you want to migrate maybe a physical machine to a virtual machine, or you have another physical hardware, bare metal. You boot that machine from image, you specify the location of the backup, and remember it can be either in the cloud or it may be even on the USB drive if the user backs up locally as well. And the recovery goes from that image. So it has a very simple interface, essentially with a single recovery button, which takes the data and puts it to the machine. In terms of the service to get a USB disk from the cloud in case of a disaster, yes, we have this option. It's called disaster recovery. It's called large-scale recovery. And also you have initial seeding option for your customer. So when your customers can bring their hard drive with the first initial backup, for example, to you, and you upload it to the cloud. This is specified essentially when you create a backup plan. So when you add a backup plan, you have a variety of options here, including initial seeding. So when you select initial seeding, an additional option appears here where you specify the location of that first backup. And typically, this location is in a local folder here on the machine. You specify it. Well, in real life, it will likely be disk E or something. You specify it here. Maybe it asks me about the folder anyway. And this additional option, this backup will go to that hard drive. You bring it to the data center. The backup plan remains the same, and it just waits until the backup appears in the data center. And once it does, it continues doing incremental backups straight to the cloud. But yeah, and in addition, just back to the original question, you have an option to have large-scale recovery. Well, with initial seeding, you send, I think we have agreement with the data center, you can send it to Acronis, but in most cases, you as a service provider have a certain tool called initial seeding tool. You install it on your machine, and the customers bring the disks to you, and apparently you have a strong, fast connection. You upload it to the Acronis data center. Okay, any other questions? Okay. In addition, you have other recovery options here, and they are aimed at faster recovery from a disaster. One of the options is you can, instead of waiting until recovery finishes, you can run a backup from, you can run a virtual machine directly from the backup. So how it works is suppose you have a host, you have a backup, it doesn't matter whether it's a physical machine or virtual machine, and on the recovery tab, if you made a complete backup of a machine, of an entire machine, you will have an additional option. Unfortunately, I don't have it in this reserve account I have. You have an option of running backup as a VM. You specify the name of that new VM, and it pops out just within a minute or two, because it's just a VM whose disks are taken directly from the backup. So we have an intermediate filter driver that presents the backup as if it were real disks of that VM. So you can bring failed machine from the backup in minutes. It keeps working, and while it's working, you have an option to actually transfer the data from the backup to a real data store. And so once this process is complete, you have a machine that is independent of its original backup. It remains on the data store. It's a fully functional, real VM that you have. Okay. Any questions at this point? Okay. Another option I wanted to highlight, it's a little bit separate from the main offering that we have. Backing up an entire machine and its applications, such as Exchange SQL. We also have an agent for backing up Office 365 mailboxes. So if you provide Office 365 accounts to your customers, you may want to offer this way of backup as well, because this way of backup enables them to rest assured that they have, let's say, a copy of those emails, let's say locally or in another cloud in addition to the Microsoft cloud. They're not limited if something is deleted. They're not limited with, I think it's 30 days recovery period from Microsoft. They have this peace of mind in terms of having all the emails, all the accounts at hand, a copy of them. You install that agent at the moment. You install it again on your premises, so we don't have a cloud option. You just download an agent for Office 365 to one of the Windows machines you have. You specify your administrator's credentials from Office 365, and you see the tab in your account with all the accounts you have in Office. We support backing up of Office 365 Exchange Online, so on the email and related things. You specify the backup plans in a similar way as for machines. It's a bit simpler. It's essentially where to back up, how often, again, whether to the cloud or locally, and how long to keep the backups. So I already had a backup plan enabled here, and once this backup completes, again, all the recovery points and recovery options are here on the page, and maybe let's wait a little bit. It's one of the drawbacks of working in this beta cloud, but I just want to show you the newest options once they appear, so that's why I keep this account here. Back to the Office 365, the list of recovery points is here. You specify what to recover, an entire mailbox or individual messages. While recovering individual messages, you have access to their preview, like here, show content. You can see that you you've recovered the message of the right type, and you can either send it or just recover to the original location. And again, this can be done either from the local place of the end user or from the cloud. Okay. Also, in terms of central management, once you install the agents, they are automatically updated by default. Even if you don't want them to be automatically updated, you always have access to the list of outdated agents, and you can update them remotely from the web. So it's really a tool that we aim to be used centrally by service providers from anywhere, essentially. Okay. Any questions about the backup and recovery before I move to something else for a minute? Okay. All right. So essentially, this is the features that the end users see and can use. And you as a service provider can log into any of those accounts to help your end users or to set up something for them. Back to your interface, to the account management, where you can see all the client accounts that you have access to reports for all the customers in your environment. We send a monthly report anyway to all the accounts you have, to all the administrators that you add here. So you have one administrator when you sign up in the marketplace, but you can add more. All those administrators by default will receive monthly reports. In addition, you can specify custom reports for a custom period of time, for custom way of detail. So it can be either a comprehensive report for all the accounts, all the customers you have, or it can be just the customers immediately under your group. So just sort of a summary report that you can use to find out how much data was used and so on. So these reports are sent on a monthly or a custom basis. As for the current information, you see all the overview here, as you probably have noticed already. And as I mentioned, all the customers, their backup statuses and so on are located here on the overview page with the timeline of backups and the backup statuses. Okay. All right, I think this is what I wanted to cover in the main demo. Maybe you have some specific requests, use cases from your end users that we can discuss. Please use the chat. I will be happy to answer the questions.
Nikolai, was there a question in Dutch or was it all in English?
I think one of them was in Dutch about the data center and ESXi. And as I understand, it's about the cost of licenses for them. But I think we can discuss the licensing question separately, but in essence, you only pay for the amount of cloud storage that you have, regardless of the number of machines you're protecting, the type of those machines, and so on.
Yeah, and if you have questions about licensing, you can reach out to the cloud team of Ingram Micro, Ron Jans, or Joyce, and also Mike joined the team, so there are more people to reach out. Thanks once more and have a great day.
Thank you very much for your attention. Have a good day. Feel free to contact us.